we're going to discuss the All People's Congress, which has raised, significant concerns regarding the cartographic mapping process for the 2026 population and housing census. It has flagged the mapping phase as a critical point for potential manipulation. We shall be discussing this concern in its entirety this morning. And yesterday, the Institute for Governance Reform, IGR, launched Volume 1 of their report series titled Sierra Leone's Political Marathon, evaluating the internal democracy of the country's two dominant political parties, of course, APC and SLPP, ahead of the 2028 general elections. Today we'll be discussing the report. Don't forget to join in on the conversation, but be civil and decent while doing so. Facebook page is there, it's AYV News. Let's jump straight into our first conversation this morning. So in 2025 and early this 2026, the beginning few days we've had in the year, the All People's Congress, APC party, has raised significant concerns regarding the cartographic mapping process for the 2026 population and housing census. While the party supports a credible census, as it says, it has flagged the mapping phase as a critical point for potential manipulation. The APC's specific concerns over the cartographic process include transparency and participation, political manipulation, exclusion from committees, timelines, skepticism, and recruitment bias. The nationwide cartographic mapping was officially launched by President Bio in October of 2025, which is expected to continue through 2026. So this morning, to talk more about the concerns, we have in the studio Abdul Karim Kamara, Esquire, who is a member of the APC publicity team. Good morning. Thanks for joining us.
Good morning, Vivi. Good morning, Vicky. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you,
New Year to you too.
And online, we're expecting to have Samuel from Statistics Sierra Leone. He would be joining us via Zoom to be part of the conversation. But we'll start with you, Abdul Karim. How did we arrive at this point when the Statistics Sierra Leone itself, before now I recall, said they learned some lessons from the previous census, and now they're working with all the political parties, including the main opposition, APC. They've said you're on board and you're all working together to get the census, the 2026 population and housing census done. So how did we get here if you're all working together?
Yes, certainly. Working together doesn't mean we cannot challenge certain anomalies. We acknowledge the fact that indeed we're working together in the spirit of having a credible census at the end of the day. What the APC will not afford is to allow our taxpayers' money and donor funds to be used at the end of the day. The end product becomes of no use. Better still, I would say, becomes useless. So the APC will not idly sit by and see where Statistics Sierra Leone ends up using our taxpayers' money and donor funds. At the end of the day, they produce data that cannot meet international best practices, and at the end of the day, it's not universally accepted, whether internally or externally. And so what we have succeeded in doing is to make sure that we monitor every step along the line as work is unfolding. And we have noticed so many anomalies. And we want to bring that to the public and let the public start understanding that we are raising the red flags. The reason is this. To be forewarned, it's like you telling somebody you have to be prepared, is to be forearmed. And so, in the spirit of nationalism, in the spirit of all succeeding, we're not doing this because we want to pull them down. We want to tell them that, hey, you're taking certain steps that are of no benefit to Sierra Leonean, and if you continue so, the end product will not be good. However, few amongst these things are, we have noticed that the cartographic mapping is to last for 6 calendar months, and it's already segmented into phases, 2 months each. and they have completed the first phase. And the party acknowledged receipt of a letter sent to the party yesterday, inviting us tomorrow to a stakeholders update as to regards to the first phase they have completed, to give us a comprehensive update as to what they have done. But we are now telling statistics that even before you call us, we already know what you have done and what you have done that is not appropriate. Amongst so many things we are doing, we realized that the work rate in the south and southeast surpasses the work rates in the north and northwest. That's one fundamental reason, issues we have detected, and we're asking the questions why. Because we know everything started together, and we expect that things should be going simultaneously, not what the results of the first phase are showing. And we've noticed the uneven distribution of teams, that we noticed that there are certain districts that have equal or same chiefdoms, but they are given uneven distribution of teams. I to name is like, let me take you for instance to Karine. Karine is a district of 14 chiefdoms, and teams that were posted to Karine to do this all-important 8-month session is only 2 teams of 5 persons each. And the same thing happens for Moyamba district, which has equally 14 chiefdoms, but they have 4 teams of 5 persons each. The question is why? We notice the same thing in Pujehun. Pujehun has 14 chiefdoms, and they have, for exactitude, they have 5 teams of 5 persons each. And here comes the same thing in Kono, with the same 14 chiefdoms, but they have 4 teams. So we're asking, why is statistic doing this? So we want to ask them these questions because of these reasons, it has started producing negative results.
But how does this affect the census?
Correct. It affects the census in this way. It will give an advantage that at one particular point, because they have high number of teams, the work rate will be high, as opposed to certain areas that have very little or low teams, and that the work rates there will be low. Simply put, let me give you an example. In Pujehun districts, they have 14 chiefdoms with 5 teams, and I'll tell you in 2 months they have completed 50% of their work. And in Bombalili, which has 4 teams, and in 2 months they have only done 9% of the entire 100%. You see how sharp is that variance? What's
the disparity there in the staff, the manpower?
Beautiful. Now the disparity is, it's often said and not that many hands make light work.
Yeah, but what's the disparity?
The disparity now is that because one team, one district is concentrated with more teams, they will work at a faster rate.
Yeah, but I want to know the disparity in figures.
The disparity is very clear. Here for Pujehun, they have already done, out of 96 sections, they have done 48 sections in 2 months. Whilst in Bombali, out of 96 sections, they have only done 9 sections.
Is the disparity in figures up to 10%, 50%? What's the disparity in figures?
It's above 86%. Now, what I did was...
No, the disparity in figures in terms of manpower deployed. Not in terms of the work done, in terms of the manpower deployed.
The disparity is just 5. Because I've told you that team, Bombali has 4 teams of 5 in 1 team, whilst Pujehun has 5 teams of 5 in 1 team. So the disparity is a team of 5%.
I was intentionally bringing you to that part. So the disparity there is just 5 people.
Yes.
5 people, yeah. 5 head count.
Exactly.
So minus 5 people. That's shocking that the people now positioned at Bombali could work at such a drastically slow and snail
That's the position we are establishing.
So it's just -5 people.
And
but
that's affecting
even if they don't get up to the 80-something% that the other teams had gotten to, with just 5 human beings head count short, they're still not supposed to be at 9% at this time. It should still be higher than that.
And that's exactly the questions we're asking.
So how have you raised it with with statistics?
And this is what we're doing. We've done a presser, which we've sent to PPRC, sorry, to Statistics Trillion, and it's made viral, or it's made public. And that's why I'm here this morning, to bring these anomalies to Statistics Trillion.
No, beyond the presser, APC itself does have access to Statistics Sierra Leone. What form of direct engagements have you had with Statistics Sierra Leone? Or are you utilizing the media route just to make more noise about this rather than tackling the issue head on by getting directly to Statistics Sierra Leone?
No. In fact, beautifully for the APC, Statistics gave us the status of being monitors, to monitor the process. But what is very provoking and shocking about this is that although they have given us the status to monitor the entire process, yet still we are not given the opportunity to doing so. It may sound very queer to you. You've given us the opportunity, you say, what? APC, you have the right to come monitor the process. But when we sent our people there to help or to monitor, say, they were denied access.
So if you were denied access, how did you get access to the figures that you have now?
We can have the access through other means.
How?
We were able to have the access.
Because I take it that
I cannot tell you how we were able to
I take it that the main database for this information is Statistics Sierra Leone. So if they've denied you access, how did you get access to information that's in their database?
And now we're challenging them that this is the information they have worked on. We'll be meeting them tomorrow and providing them
this in itself signifies you have some sort of access, that you're holding the data in your hands.
Yes, of course.
So that counts as access, doesn't it?
One thing again, let me give you the legal implication of this. For our country, Sierra Leone, and in our own system of practice, it's immaterial as to how you're able to have the evidence. What is important is you have something to point out that this is my evidence. If you challenge in this evidence, you bring yours. We'll put it to the table.
Have you had a direct encounter with Statistics Sierra Leone?
That does not deny us to using different means to
But that does still not stop me from asking you if you've had a direct encounter with Statistics Sierra Leone.
I've told you the answer is yes, but they are denying us access. But we're able to use a different router. If you cannot...
No. You said they're denying you access to monitor.
To monitor.
Now I'm asking you, all these concerns you have about denying you access to monitor and all these other concerns you've raised, have you brought them up directly with Statistics Sierra Leone, aside from utilizing the media road?
Yes, of course, my lady, we've done that.
And what was the response you got?
It was completely like a report to a deaf ears, rather than the statisticians general completely told us unequivocally that, hey, APC, you asked for observer status. We gave you monitor status. So if one thing is happening in Moyamba, that your monitors, I'm citing exactitude, that in Moyamba, that your monitors are not given access to at least interact with our mappers, to ask sensitive questions, i.e., how do you ring these EAs? What exactly sample of EA are you using? Are you using the urban type EA, or are you using the rural type EA? So that we'll know exactly how you ring in these EAs to ask these salient questions. Our monitors are not giving the access. To the extent that even when they access these localities, paramount chiefs and section chiefs deny them access on the grounds that they are not made known by Statistics Sierra Leone that indeed monitors from the APC will be joining them to ask salient questions. So that's exactly the feedback.
It's a good thing we have Statistics Sierra Leone joining the conversation. We would be moving on to them to get their own side of this story and get clarity on the issues that you've raised this morning.
Yes, Vivian. One thing that stands very, very significant, and Victor, and I want us to pay keen attention to this, is that the APC was very successful in making sure we did a comparative analysis of 2015 and 2025. What we did was to give figures, because we're talking about figures here. In this particular activity, it's not 100% politics, it's statistics and it's data driven. Let me give you quick analogies. In 2015, which was the last decennial census we held, Pujon had 14 chiefdoms, and in its totality, they had 96 sections. In the entirety of 2015, Pujon was able to have 582 EAs. When we say EAs, these are enumeration areas. What is now very, very shocking is that in 2025-2026 population and housing census, Pujon in 2 months, at the completion of 48 sections, they have surpassed in its entirety the exact EAs they were able to score or have in 2015. To the extent that within 2 months, they have done 50% of the entirety of the work that was supposed to be done in 6 months. So now the argument is, if in 2 months you are able to have 930 EAs, for which statisticians listening to us understand that when you say an EA for this point, you are talking about a population head count which ranges from 350 to 450 for rural EAs, and for 450 to 600 people for urban EAs. So if you have ringed 930 EAs in Pujon that have surpassed exactly what Pujon was able to have in the entirety of 2015, it becomes worrisome that what will be the end product at the completion of 6 months and having completed the entirety of the 96 sections. It becomes very, very fishy. So what the APC is doing is this. We are bringing to the attention of Sierra Leoneans, and I am listening to you guys carefully in this introduction, that it's not about the APC and the SLPP. It's us Sierra Leoneans starting to ask pertinent questions. That, hey, let us do things that will save the soul of Sierra Leone. What is in the best interest of Sierra Leone and what not is in the best interest of the APC or the SLPP. Let us do it for the sake of Sierra Leone. And let us don't concoct figures just because we have the sole intention of political gerrymandering. And because the SLPP government is hell-bent on the fact that they have made a very clear declaration that they intend to having 2 new districts of Bandjuma and Panguma. Specifically, they are going to be created from Kailao and Kenema districts and to some parts, Pujon district. So we are now beginning to see a calculated attempt that institutions are now beginning to connive with government to making sure that this end product is achieved. But you know what was telling them? That the APC takes this business very serious, and we are bringing it to the attention of all and sundry, that in as much as we are not against the president's powers, as conferred in him by virtue of the Local Government Act, in tandem with certain provisions that need to be met before the proclamation of redistricting or the creation of new districts. We are warning Statistics Sierra Leone that any data that will be cooked up that does not reflect the true Sierra Leonean population will be resisted by the APC. I will make sure that we stand by that decision. Because the reason is this: if we have fictitious data, it is going to seriously challenge our policy formulation. It is going to seriously challenge the distribution of national resources. And so we are asking for credible data, credible census. Now, what is very worrisome is to put you, all of us here, to the camera, get you into the camera. I will challenge to the greatest extent of people living in the Western area, both in the urban setting and in the rural setting, that it has become very difficult for some of us for the past 2 months since the beginning of this mapping to see
in what way?
A mapper that has visited our localities, our communities, or our areas to at least embark on this all-important activity.
But they haven't gone there.
That's the position. For us in the East.
Perhaps if you wait a little longer, you'd see
How
them.
do we have to wait? They need to tell us in the Western area where exactly are they working. Because we have asked these questions, as Phoebe is asking. Have you directly asked these necessary questions to Statistics Sierra Leone? We've asked. And as of this moment I'm seated here, Statistics Sierra Leone cannot tell us as of this moment in the Western area, whether in the urban setting or in the rural setting, that the mappers are currently at Godrich, or they're at Wellington, or they're at Kokube, or they're at Komon-Tok Market, or they're at Brookfields. There's nowhere we can find mappers.
You're saying that they're clueless?
We're beginning to say...
Are you saying they're clueless about the work that the mappers are doing?
No, we are not saying they are clueless. We are saying it is deliberate.
They should have a calendar.
That's what I am saying. Yeah. We are not saying they are clueless. We are saying it is deliberate because they are concentrating more of their energy and their efforts in the south and southeast, because that is where they want to achieve the all-important goal they want to score, and give very little or infinitesimal attention to the north and northwest, inclusive the western area. Both
I just hope. I was still waiting for, you know, Figo, Samuel Ansumana, who is the comms person at Statistics Sierra Leone. I'm not sure he has joined us, but we should have him online because you made a lot of, you know, I mean, accusations. He should clear the air, actually, so that we know exactly what's happening. And you've also said that perhaps they don't even have a calendar, but they should have. They should know where these people are working at a particular time.
And it should not be done in secret.
Date,
it should not be done in secret.
But perhaps, isn't it that perhaps the APC is too afraid that something might go wrong?
No, we're not too afraid.
Maybe you're just timid.
No, we're not afraid. We're just being too conscious. We're just being too prepared that what's happened in 2021 cannot repeat itself again in 2025, 2026. We are just trying to show that indeed we're on top of situation and we're monitoring this process and we're monitoring every nook and cranny of this entire process.
In essence, you've been scarred by the previous, you know, happening.
No, we have no resentment to that. We have no regret for that. And that has given us the leverage we're enjoying today, because we challenged it right from its inception that it was going to be an act in futility, and the aftermath was all what we preempted. So that vilified the APC. What we're saying is that this all-important activity, we're in it in its totality, and we're ready to make sure that we monitor it in its entirety.
When you struck the arrangement with Statistics Sierra Leone, and they told you that you were going to serve as, you know, is it overseers? How do you call it? Monitors.
We requested to be observers, but they requested our status to be monitors.
To monitors.
Yes, but that is not in the reality.
Didn't they give you the scope at which you should work? Perhaps you've gone past the scope that they provided.
This is what I'm telling you. You see, what they want to enjoy to the public gallery is to be making these statements that the APC is participating. But when you try to access the corridors, they will close the doors. And then when you knock harder, they will tell you, hey, you're not welcome here. And then when we come to talk to the people, they say, no, don't worry about them, we're working together. You understand that type of scenario thing? They present the public, the picture to the public as if we're working and we're aware of everything that's happening. But when we want to get ourselves fully involved, the door is closed. That's what exactly is happening at this point. And so we're telling them that, hey, that's wrong. That's a very risky play, because at the end of the day, you're not going to achieve what you want to have. Because we'll not sit idly by to see you guys enjoy this. From
the All People's Congress, are you the team lead for this particular task?
I don't like saying I am the lead, but I think I am providing it at this point. Okay. But there are invisible players also.
In essence, you're saying that you don't even meet with Statistics Sierra Leone, because you should be meeting from time to time, you know, as the process unfolds.
Except if you didn't get me clear. I just mentioned to you that we received an invite for tomorrow, that they have called us to an all-important stakeholders update as to the completion of the first phase.
Is it about the concerns you're raising now, or something entirely different?
We've communicated with them formally and even personally. I have a very good relationship with the Statistician General. I call him often and again. We talk over things and Figo. We bring these things to them unofficially and officially, but yet still there is that bottleneck.
So what would have happened if you had waited for the meeting tomorrow, sit with them, get the outcome, and then now raise it with the media, the outcome of the meeting? What would have happened if that route had been taken?
It's just getting them to be prepared that we want to see them giving us something tomorrow that will be...
Prepared, but you just said you've informed them.
No, what if you had informed them prior, is to tell them that the APC is not going to settle for less. That we're not just allowing them to work and give us fictitious figures at the end of the day. We're monitoring.
Are you sort of utilizing the media? When I say the media, I mean mainstream media and the presser. Are you utilizing the media sort of to box them in a corner, to give in to what you're asking?
That's not the intention. But we're using the media
because if you're having a meeting tomorrow, you've not had the meeting yet.
Yes.
To know whatever it is they're going to say as a response to the issues you've raised. But here we are.
But that's telling them that we are alert. In fact, what we're doing, we're using the media to tell them that, hey, wait a second, guys, if you intend to do any shenanigan act, the APC is not...
What impact do you think this format, this route would have on not only Statistics Sierra Leone, but the census process itself, going back to the history of the 2021 census?
It will create a situation wherein the reasonable person will start to question exactly how realistic will the figures or the output will look like. Because this format is purposely crafted to justify the census of 2021.
What about the unreasonable person?
And
we do have a mixed multitude of reasonable people and unreasonable people.
And that is more so the reason why the APC is now making sure that we edify the unreasonable person to see how best he can at least deviate from that zone.
Would you agree that some of these activities now that, you know, you're bringing this up when you've not been able to get an official response from Statistics Sierra Leone yet, because again, you just said they've invited you to a meeting tomorrow. Would you agree that some of these issues to an unreasonable person could bring trust issues with the census process and perhaps lead to a similar situation of 2021?
And that is what exactly we want to avert. That's what exactly we want to prevent. That if this census does not meet its benchmarks of credibility, it will end up giving us a situation wherein all the taxpayers, that is why if you listen...
But your methodology now doesn't seem to be pointing at that direction.
That's it. So now we're telling them, hey, we're giving them early warning signals. It's not too late to go back and correct the else they are doing. There's still 4 months remaining. They can still correct these anomalies and move on, and at the end of the day, we can still have a common platform. But if they continue in this manner, I am going to tell you deliberately that the aftermath or the end product is not going to be universally accepted.
What would you do eventually? Let's say, for example, you are resisted.
Do you want us to tell you now?
Well,
however,
we are discussing it.
I am telling you, Vicky, we are not insolvent of solutions. The APC is not insolvent of solutions. For every action, it requires a proportionate reaction. Firstly, we are approaching them in a very civilized and gentle manner. And I'm very, very, very convinced that the Statistician General, Mr. Johnny, is a very decent person. He listens. And when, I will not say this, but I will say this again here. When we were monitoring this entire process, there was certain anomaly that popped up on the very day the EAs were rejected. The chairman of the Census Committee, Honorable Logus Koroma, called the Statistician General directly that we have noticed something on the dashboard, and this does not reflect exactly what is happening. Do you know what happened? He told, I was with the chairman, he told the chairman, no, this is not true. And the chairman said, go to the dashboard now, look at what is happening. The particular figures they have inputted does not reflect this area. We are there at this moment. You know what he did? He dropped the phone, he contacted his IT people, and within splits of seconds, that particular column was erased. It was completely taken off from the dashboard. And we laughed. We said, oh, these guys don't know that what they are doing, we are monitoring it every second, every hour of the clock. We have monitors as they have all over the place, irrespective of the fact that they are not given the opportunities. But one thing I want to make to them very clear, and this is a public secret, and I'm told to make it known to them. The APC has leadership at all structures of this country. Let me make this very clear. In the remittance part of this country, we have party executives. And so, if you access any part in those countries, or in those parts of this country, I will tell you, we'll call our people there. Mongo, so chiefdom, people don't reach there. Without them candy. How many people they want to see? When I check for the host the way they did it. This is what we're doing. So that is why I am here today with figures. To challenge them that in these 2 months you've completed everything you've done, we have it. So we're not going to compare notes.
So we have two census, by Statistics Sierra Leone and by APC.
No. The APC is monitoring the census. So at the end of the day, we have a data that is going to be unanimously accepted by all and sundry, that will feel that the process was exactly credible and it's worth it. But in an event that figures are cooked or concocted, will challenge you that, hey, wait a second. If you said you went to Mongo and you ringed 15 EAs, I will tell you these EAs were rural EAs because the proximity, the geographical congruity does not require an urban EA. So that is why if you're ringing it, we know that this EA you've ringed is a rural EA and it should be within the threshold of 350 to 450.
This is a very strategic strategy. Let's take a quick detour. Why did the APC not apply this strategy to 2023 elections?
Because it was
by now it would have helped you to get the evidence and figures to go to court.
It was unconventional, it was unconstitutional, we challenged it, we did everything humanly possible that in the laws of Sierra Leone, the 1991 constitution, does not provide for a midterm census. It provides categorically, clear, unequivocally, that we should have decennial census.
You probably did not hear me. I'll ask again. It's a very strategic strategy. We'll take a detour. How come the APC did not apply this strategy to the 2023 elections, given that neither the ECSL nor the APC could provide your own figures as you challenged the election results?
This question is as similar as to the chief minister when he says, if you are challenging the result, why can't you bring your own RRF form? You see, let me say this again clearly. In the 2023 elections, similar strategies were put in place, and we had our own results and everything on the table. What was very challenging was that you cannot assemble all your facts within 7 days as provided for. Don't forget, it's a national business, and you're talking about the general elections, which includes local councils, chairpersons, parliamentarians, and the presidency. So 7 days was not sufficient enough, and so that was the challenge, that we had to assemble our evidence. But that does not deny us of the fact that we hadn't got the facts, the figures. But however, we were saying that is done and dusted. We're going past that one. Lessons learned.
Is this strategy as a result of lessons learned from 2023?
You're crazy. I am saying this not because I want to provoke old wounds. I am saying, in as much as I've gone past the one, I don't enjoy when I'm progressing and retrogressing at the same time.
Yeah, but
I don't move forward and look backward at the same time.
Yeah, I'm just asking, is this new strategy, is this a new strategy from the lessons learned from 2023
Except if you want me to
elections?
be very, very, very much callous with you. But the truth is, you always learn from your mistakes, you always learn from your past, and make decisive positions to making sure your decisions now becomes more better than your previous ones.
So this is lessons learned
We are
from
saying
2023?
This is an improved calculation to making sure that a reoccurrence of 2023 doesn't come anymore.
While we are discussing this, is the House in order?
The APC?
Yes. You know, elections are not too far, you know, and I've been seeing a lot of, you know, candidates from your party.
Genuinely, yesterday I spoke to the women's leader, president, Madam Maria Malo Bangura. I said, I didn't see you invite media houses. Yesterday we were at Family Kingdom. I don't know whether you're aware of it.
No.
And there's photos all over the place, all of us, all the 20 plus flag bearer aspirants in the APC were all there dining, whining, and in fact to the extent that we had a very, very, very much social event with Zainab Sharif declaring that she wants to be president. She was called on the stage. Okay. This is Zainab Sharif Jagaban. Everybody at
under the APC tickets.
It was just like it's fanfare.
Is Zainab going under the APC?
Well, when she was called yesterday.
No, let's get it clear.
For social,
was she running
for social bees.
Is she running under the APC?
Well, she was called as one of the intended flag bearers. Just to make the the glamour. You know,
I understand.
Was that
I'm just
based on reality or comic relief?
Well, I cannot say. She would better say it. But for me, I see it as a
I'm asking from the APC's perspective.
For me, I see it as a social gathering where we want to foster peace and quiet. We want to see everybody feel comfortable, that everybody feels that the platform is level.
So the APC regards her as one of your contestants?
No, I am not saying that.
Okay.
I am saying in that social biz yesterday, we want to see where everybody will come together and enjoy the finesse of the All People's Congress, that nobody is giving an unequal platform as against the other. Well, she'll make wherever it is, it's our own political journey. But I will say to you, because I was there, and I'm talking far on behalf of the party, that among so many things that we did, we had Zainab Sharif on the stage yesterday as will be flag bearer aspirants, and we'll have to overeat, and there was that fun and relief. We just wanted to see how we can continue to tell you guys that we're not just coming here to say there's peace and quiet in the APC, that the center is holding, but let you be seeing it by proof.
You know, a lot of things have happened actually. You know, the matter with Samsuman has now been settled. Have you fully accepted him now as a party, and you're ready to move forward with him?
I have always said
as one of your candidates for the next election?
I've always said this more than often again. Sam Sumana, chief, had always been a bona fide member of the All People's Congress Party since 2023, when to us we officially readmitted him. And that was exactly the contention. That he says his readmission spans back to 2020. And that is settled and done. We have issued him almost 2 days back his new membership card that dates 2020. And that gives him now the clarity, the leverage that he has met the 5 years continuous period in the party to vie for.
So you wouldn't have even gone to that stage had you settled this thing amicably in-house, you know?
No. The party's position remains intact. That as far as we are concerned.
Does this mean that you've broken, you know, the law within your party, as in the constitution?
No, we are not.
You were arguing, you know, before now that, you know, according to the laws within the party, the man doesn't stand a chance to run.
That is exactly the position of the party onto this point. But
you're forced to do this.
We are not forced to doing it. We've done that and we accepted the decision of PPRs. And don't forget, the decision of PPRs is not binding on us. But yes, it's not binding on us.
But yet you have implemented.
Yes, for the interest of peace and quiet.
Okay.
So that, and don't forget, we're already far behind time. You see our revised timelines.
Okay.
Had it not been for all this back and forth, we'll have completed maybe the lower level elections that we are all preparing for the ultimate NDC. So all these things putting together, we just say, you know what, let's move on, and we're moving on.
Yesterday, Honorable Ibrahim Ben Kagbo, you know, senior member within your party.
A very senior one.
Yes, said something very striking.
And what was it?
That I paid attention to, particularly. He said that the person whom you'll be choosing for as flag bearer for the party to run for the next election will not be coming from the southeast. You'll be a neutral person.
Well, I will deny not to comment.
Okay.
Because I know, I call him that. In fact, to some extent I call him granddad. He might be talking that from his individual perspective. Maybe. I am not certain because I didn't listen to him.
Okay.
Had he said officially from the APC's position, then I will have commented. But all I can say is that that is his individual opinion and for which he's entitled to it. Yaks Abdul Karim seated here, I have my own individual opinion. What I will tell you is that the next APC standard bearer does not really have to be chosen on the basis of regional lines, tribal lines, or religious lines. It's going to be solely based on who the people want. If the people want Victor Jones, that is the decision of the APC.
I'm not sure they would want me though. I'm a journalist.
I'm just giving an analogy.
but I mean, so as we round off, you know, have you begun seeing a picture of this man or woman that will be leading your party?
Yes.
Okay.
The picture of this person who's going to lead the party is going to be somebody who's all-embracing. Somebody who believes that it's Sierra Leone that comes first. Who believes that Sierra Leone should not be divided on the basis of tribal lines, regional lines, or basic petty sentiments. This new leader, or the leader of the APC, believes in nationalism. He believes in constructive dialogue. He believes in putting Sierra Leone first, as against any other thing.
And you've already identified the person?
Yes, of course.
Okay.
We're just waiting for the day to unveil the person. And that person has to come through the people's vote.
Okay.
I just wanted to ask you again for clarity, what means would you be using to get the flag bearer? Election, whatever?
It's no longer going to be wherever. To elect even a cleaner in the APC, it has to be by election. And so the means we are going to have our standard bearer.
What kind of election?
It's going to be
a transparent, free, fair, and credible election, or another kind of election?
Feel what exactly do you expect me to
I asked because you seem to already have a description of the flag bearer, which may not reflect all those we've seen online and offline vying for that position. So if you're beginning to describe the flag bearer and you say it's going to be done through an election, it means you already have an individual in mind. So what kind of election would that be when you now insist that it would be the people of the party who would choose their leader?
That's exactly what I've said.
Your description does not match all the aspirants for flag bearer.
No, you cannot say that. My description matches all the aspirants in the APC. As of this moment, I'm taking here.
Okay.
All of them that have taken themselves forward to lead the party are people I've seen that put Sierra Leone first against any other thing else. There are people who believes that to lead this country doesn't have to be born on the basis that I have to be a Northerner, I have to be a Southerner. All of them believes that Sierra Leone belongs to all of us. And so for me to lead the APC and by extension Sierra Leone, I must be an all-embracing person. I must believe that you need not to be a Mendy man to be APC. You need not to be a Tene man to be APC. All you need is to put Sierra Leone first. We believe competence. We believe performance as opposed to connectocracy, favorism, and nepotism. And so therefore, all the flag bearers of the APC share this trait in equality. And that is why I'm saying, amongst all of them, it's the best person that is going to win. And that best person is going to be decided by the delegates of the party.
Clarify again, not from your opinion point of view, but from APC's perspective. Is Jagaban an official member of the APC, and is he qualified to run for flag bearer?
I will use the exact words of the Secretary General of the party in its exact words, and I will not deviate from it either. That he says that Jagaban is qualified to run for the standard bearership of the APC, pursuant to the fact that that he inherited a secretariat wherein prior to his inception into office, there had been a party rate data that was submitted to him from two distinguished parties, i.e. the courts and PPRC. And when I was here again, sometimes back last year or year before last, we started a verification exercise. Every individual amongst the APC, including founding fathers of the APC, applied because we were required to have a new data that encompasses both the two registers to have them synchronized into one data. And so whosoever now is verifying must verify pursuant to his last membership date. And the exact words of the Secretary General were, when Jagaban sent in his re-verification form, dating back to when he first became a member of the party, and whilst that was cross-checked, his name was found not only in the data that was submitted to him through the courts, but it was equally in the data that was submitted to him by PPRC. And pursuant to that fact, he is qualified, and that was why he issued him the ID card he's now having today.
How old is his membership?
Well, as far as I'm concerned, I am very certain that he meets the 5-year threshold of being a continuous member. I cannot speak for him directly as to how old his membership, because I've not seen it. But the exact words of the Secretary General were that indeed he's a member of the party, is qualified to run, pursuant to the fact that his membership spans way back before his inception into office.
The Jury Act came about as, deliberate actions to promote women's participation in governance, amongst other things. The race for flag bearer, though it's going to be via an election, as you put it, but there would be a candidate and a running mate. How intentional is the APC party about female representation, even as you prepare for 2028 elections?
You see,
not just by MPs and all, even at that ticket of flag bearer and running mate.
You see, one thing the APC does for women is that we don't give them leadership positions just because out of empathy. We give them leadership positions based on competence. And that platform is not stifled on the basis of gender. As I'm telling you now, among so many people that are vying for leadership in the APC party, we've almost got 3 or 4 people that are vying for the deputy leadership of the party. It's not a matter that is going to be given to you. It's a decision that is going to be earned through the electorate. So the issue of who is going to be the running mate is not a decision of the APC. Our party constitution is very clear, and let me make this very, very clear. The person who emerges as the flag bearer aspirant of the APC who have won that election is then required by the National Advisory Committee to submit to the party 3 names of people he thinks he finds himself very comfortable to working with. Very clear. So it's not a party decision. He submits 3 names of people he thinks, because don't
you
forget...
said he.
Yes.
There are she's as well vying for that position.
In the interpretation of statutes, For we lawyers, when you say he, it goes for both the he and she.
Luckily, this is not the courtroom.
Okay. Well, for the consumption of the public, when I always say he, please understand it to be for both he and she.
Okay.
And when I say he or she, now has the right to bring to the table 3 names. Don't forget, because he ultimately is going to be the president of the country. And you must have somebody you enjoy, you have a fine working relationship with. He must not be somebody, or she must not be somebody that is imposed on you. At the end of the day, you will not have a fine spaghetti relationship with that person. So it's based on evolution that you say, okay, I, Abdul Karim Kana, I am comfortable to working with Phoebe, Victor, and the other person to be any of the 3 of them. I am comfortable to have one amongst them as my running mate.
Wouldn't it be strategic or even sensible to have a female as running mate?
Well, it's condition dependent.
To balance the gender,
It's condition dependent on who is going to be the flag bearer and what his choice of priority is going to look like.
Okay.
But however, the party will come to influencing that decision. This is where it's very critical.
Or the party influences as well, after the choices
yes, after the
made already.
names have been submitted to the party.
It's the party that finally chooses,
No.
right?
If you allow me to lay this because after you've submitted 3 names, the party now sits the flag bearer and the party executive and NAC and say, amongst these 3 names, tell us your priority, your scale of preference. How do you prioritize them and on what grounds? How do you see that working with this person will give us victory? Having taken all this together, then the party will say, we'll go by our decision. And if to some extent we see that it's not having a national platform wherein certain variables are not considered, the party will say, can't you see that if you don't go for this person, if you go for this person, these variables will be filled in? You see how best will work to State House seamlessly. We'll provoke this discussion.
For you, the goal is to go to State House, but not to lead the country. Because I think that should be considered as well.
How do you lead the country if you don't go to State House?
Well, so that's the thing. You should also be considering character.
The fact here,
not those who have the crowd, which I know is a priority for you guys.
You cannot disconnect the fact that going to State House is ultimately going to make you lead this country. But equally, leading this country requires you going through a political party.
Not all those who are elected are leaders. That's the thing. Leaders are made by God himself.
You bring in philosophy here, you bring in critical thinking here. But however, for the consumption of this argument, whosoever now becomes elected happens to be a leader. And I agree from a Quranic point of view that the sooner you're made a leader, God gives you special anointing. Right from that moment you are ordained a leader, God gives you special anointing. Your wisdom, prowess changes, the way of doing things changes. Allah comes to your guide. And so I buy that to the last of my penny, that the sooner you're made a leader, foresight, reasonability, discernment becomes an easy platform for you.
Abdul Karim, thank you very much for your time this morning. Unfortunately, we could not have a representative from statistics join the conversation virtually, but looking forward to follow up on this conversation after the meeting tomorrow. So we'll get to know the outcome of the meeting and where things would be standing after that meeting. Thanks for your time this morning. He's Abdul Karim Kamara Esquire. He's a member of the APC's publicity team, and we've been talking about their concerns with statistics Sierra Leone for the 2026 population and housing census, and amongst other issues as they prepare for 2028 elections. We would take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll go into the conversation with IGR. Please stay with us. This is Wake Up Sierra Leone. We'll be right back.
Your world, your card. Global access. Local convenience. With the cheapest bank rate ever. No matter where your journey takes you, from the quiet corners of the globe to the vibrant heart of Freetown, your world just got smaller. With the Rokel Commercial Bank prepaid Visa card, you're connected. Access your funds, make purchases, and manage your money. Anywhere, anytime. It's global power with local convenience. Your world, your car. Experience the freedom. Get your Rokel Commercial Bank prepaid Visa card today. You don't need to open an account to have the card. Rokel Commercial Bank. the bank of choice.
Feels good to see your face again. It's been a very crazy day. The joyous feeling in the air when rain falls on a sunny day. Happy, yeah. Let the stars, let the roll.
Enjoy life's little pleasures with Maltina. Maltina. Share happiness.
Right, welcome back. Now, in this final segment, the Institute for Governance Reform, IGR, has officially launched the inaugural edition of its new series, Sierra Leone's Political Marathon. It's the volume 1 of it, International Democracy of Political Parties. The report assesses the eternal democratic processes and preparedness of Sierra Leone's 2 major political parties, the All People's Congress, APC, and the ruling Sierra Leone People's Party, ahead of the 2028 general elections. The report, IGR says, is based on a nationwide survey of 1,200 people across 150 communities conducted in December of 2025. Now, during the survey, flag bearer endorsements out of 26 rumored aspiring flag bearers, Alhaji Mohammed Omodu Kamara, alias Jagaban, of the All People's Congress Party, was the only individual to secure more than a 50% endorsement from party members, recording 63% likability and 51% electability nationwide, the report says. Now, SLPP race, no candidates within the ruling SLPP secured a majority approval, leaving the internal flag bearer race widely open. So this morning, we're going to discuss the report in its entirety, and for that we've been joined by IGR's, Executive Director, Andrew Leverly. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning. Happy New Year to you.
Indeed, Happy New Year to you too. This almost seems like an endorsement of a particular candidate. Is it?
No, it's not. It's the people's views on those candidates. And like we said, it's a marathon.
Okay.
It may change as we go. So this is a series that we hope to be publishing from time to time. The reality is, people are looking at section 3.6 of that report, and many other sections are really important. And we are doing this because internal democracy is a big challenge for Sierra Leone. Political parties cannot give what they don't have. SLPP and APC cannot give accountability if they don't have it internally. They cannot give inclusion if you don't have it internally. Over the holidays, I got really fond of this biblical phrase. I think it's in Proverbs 14:34 that says that righteousness exalts a nation and sin is a reproach. Yeah. And sometimes we just take this lightly. We believe that righteousness can just come miraculously or literally overnight. It has to be nurtured. It has to be nurtured in our political systems. If we live in a society where people are complaining about drugs, we're complaining about the Trump travel ban, for example, it's because of weak productivity within the state. So the only way you can do that is when we have political parties actually generating capable leaders. So we decided not to waste too much of our time, but to actually zoom in on the 2 political parties that have an almost 50% chance of winning the election. I would just like at this point to just read something, just an excerpt from the TRC report, and you can agree or disagree whether it obtains today. The report says neither the SLPP nor the APC made any genuine efforts to attend to the debasement of post-independent politics and the economy of the country. On the contrary, history speaks of a systemic failure whereby all members of the political elites belong to the same failing system. While they claim to be ideologically different, in reality the two parties shared a brand of politics that is all about power and the benefits it conferred. Tragically, these characteristics persist today in Sierra Leone. I don't know whether you disagree. This was in 2004.
Okay.
I don't know whether you disagree with that today. So for us to build a better democracy, a sound democracy, we need to deepen internal democracy. We've been in a situation where just few people own political parties and few people actually decide. And so for those that have been paying attention to history, the first coup we had in Sierra Leone was really the failure of internal democracy. So in 1967, under Sir Albert Magai, he actually failed to give party symbols in the party primaries to 3 members of the SLPP. So they went independent. So in the ensuing election, there was a tie, and that tie should have been broken by independent candidates, because the 3 independent candidates actually went ahead and won the election. And so the SLPP then realized that these are our members, so they went to plead. They pleaded with them, but the people still said no. They refused to budge. So they went with Shaka Stevens, and Shaka Stevens of APC became the prime minister. And just a week after that, soldiers that are loyal to SLPP staged a coup. So that was the first coup we had in Sierra Leone. They put the governor, Life Boston at the time, under house arrest and stuff like that. So just see what happened. 40 years after that, in 2007, the same thing happened to Stevens' son, that happened to be Charles Magai. He felt cheated by Tijan Kaba because he felt Tijan Kaba had coronated Solomon Berawa. He never allowed a free internal democracy process in an election which he felt he was popular. And then what happened, he went ahead and formed his own PMDC party, and the party costed SLPP the election in 2007 because they just took the chunk of the votes from the south and east, that is the SLPP base. So fast forward, it's 10 years later, you can see that happening. The NDI published that President Kuruma coronated Samora Kamara, and out of that, C4C emerged, and then APC went ahead and lost the election. So for better, for worse, internal democracy is something that should be treated seriously. And there is this, people are fixated about, the delegates have to decide. But you can buy all the delegates, but you don't have the party grassroots, the party support, at your beck and call. So at the end of the day, we see instability in political parties after elections. And NDI is very clear that political parties that are inclusive, political parties with strong internal democracies, they tend to be more enduring, they tend to be more adaptable to the emerging challenges than political parties where only a few people call the shots. And this is why we decided to work with both political parties. And by the way, I should say kudos to them, because they actually work with us in this research. We spent an hour in the SLPP talking to the SLPP leadership, from the chairman to the secretary general, vetting the tools. We spent 3 hours in the APC from 5 o'clock to 8 o'clock at night. In fact, they even serve us refreshment, going line by line with the tools. And then after we fielded the survey, we invited both groups to our office, and we should say thank you for this emerging partnership between civil society and political parties to deepen internal democracy. But what many Sierra Leoneans, what has really struck the chord with many Sierra Leoneans, who is on top in the race. But for us, whilst that is important, it's really the mechanism that is generating the leaders that is really of importance to us.
These people whom you spoke to, what criteria did you use to select them?
Okay,
so about 100 and something people that were spoken to for the survey, I mean.
1,200.
Yes. How did you select them?
Okay, so ideally, when you talk about internal democracy, you talk to party members and delegates. Like in the case of Sierra Leone, you talk to party members and delegates. The instrumental meaning of party membership in Sierra Leone is different from the West. So in West, you have a registered conservative, a registered Democrat, a registered Republican. In Sierra Leone, you have people who are not registered. They say, me, I born SLPP or born APC, that APC. Okay. And these are the people who actually engage in community levels. They take part in protests on behalf of political parties. And we believe that political parties should not be a situation where people say, let us just ignore these people. In fact, I have my base. I just need to talk to few delegates. I mean, I think the largest number of delegates for a political party is not up to 2,000 people. So the moment I get those 2,000 people, in fact, some of them I need to put on my payroll, I'm home and dry. So to your question as to how we derive these people, how did we arrive at this? So we said, yes, delegates are important, but let us talk to the people who are delegating the delegates. Because a delegate, by definition, should be someone that is delegated to speak on behalf of a particular constituency, a particular group. But if you say immediately you are elected, you don't care about them anymore. You care about maybe the person who actually bankroll your campaign. Because we saw in the case of SLPP last year, in the delegate contest, we had some few houses that ended up in flames. So what is more important for us to deepen democracy, because democracy is demos and kratos, the government of the people. So where are the people? So we took the sampling from Statistics Sierra Leone to talk generally about to Sierra Leoneans. So randomly to Sierra Leoneans, 1,200 Sierra Leoneans across the board. Coincidentally, there was a question on, are you a party supporter? Self-identified party supporters happen to be 74%. It's quite about the highest in Africa, one of the highest in Africa. The number of people who in Sierra Leone actually identify themselves with political party, almost equal strength. The research, the results you are seeing are largely an analysis of people who identify themselves as members of SLPP and APC. So that's how I don't know whether the randomization and the selection was done.
So this is volume 1 of Sierra Leone's political marathon. Let's understand the vision for this political marathon. This volume 1 is on internal democracy of political parties. Is it going to be always on internal democracies of political parties? How often would you be doing this? Let's understand this itself.
In the first place, we're looking at the marathon as a kind of 4-year project. 4-year in the sense, 2 years to the elections and 2 years after the election. So when there's a new administration, you actually follow that administration for 2 years. And why are we taking this period? This is the moment of all time that citizens' views are important. Because this is the time that politicians actually need citizens. But too often what happens, instead of we dictating what happens, we are drawn into unnecessary battles wherein, it's red versus green, I'm from the south, this person is from the north. Instead of looking at the things or discussing the things that are common to us and agreeing on how do we, bring those issues on the political agenda. Say, for example, the issue of jobs, the issue of accountability for contracts. How do we make institutions accountable? So as we've read in the TRC report, if we want to make politicians or political entities to do the best for us, we need to incubate the process wherein the best leaders can emerge. So that's why the first leg of the marathon is on internal democracy. Definitely other subsequent series will touch on internal democracy. Not just who is going to lead and who is not going to lead, but what is going to be the institutional, I don't want to use the word reform, but changes that are taking place to ensure that whoever is going to come on board is going to govern well. And at the end of the day, when those people are seated as leaders, how do we ensure that as citizens, we hold them to account to deliver those results. Why are we taking the first 2 years? Normally, when regimes come to power in the first 2 years, they normally cause all the right noises. They say all the right things. So it's in year 3, they start thinking about the next election. So we think in those first 2 years, it's really an ideal time for citizens to agree with the new administration as to what should be in their interest. So that's why, to your question as to what's the vision, the vision is to ensure that we deepen democracy at elections, and whoever is going to win, we accompany the new leadership to deliver the results that are promised in after 2028.
We would come right back to you to round off the conversation, but we're heading to Studio 2 quickly to join Ransford McLean, who's all set to bring us the latest sports update this morning. Good morning, Ransford. Today, jokingly in the studio, Abdul was telling you that Jagaban is now celebrating that you've also given him more publicity, projecting him. The concern for some people is somehow, when IGR releases a report, the next official report you hear, whether it's an election projection or something, becomes very similar to what you release.
It has only happened once. So, but the reality is we try to make sure that we are scientific as possible. And I mean, when we are talking to political parties, one of the things we encourage them to do is to do their internal polling, because one of the ways a politician become more trusted is when they speak on the basis of numbers, facts and evidence. So, so we try as best as possible to be as robust as possible. So we could be called names, but the good thing is you cannot fault our methodology. And if the margin of error is plus minus 3% at a 95% confidence interval, it means if the condition does not change, if you do this, if you apply this methodology that we applied 100 times, 95 times, you'll get the same result that we had. So we employ gold standard in the methodology. It's the same standard that has been applied in many serious research institutions around the world. So that's the thing. So for those who have not seen some of the results, I will just maybe finish off by sharing some of the results. In terms of flag bearer race, when we went to the political parties, one of the things they told us that they do not recognize anyone as a political. Both political parties said that they do not recognize anyone. But the names that we got that have been rumored, that have been published, some in your media house, were script from the internet. So we collected 26 names, 10 from APC, SLPP, 16 from APC, ranging from the former flag bearer of the APC, down to, whoever else. So it turned out that, and we assessed them on 2 matrices. One is likability. We ask them, would I elect? And the other is on electability. So if you can't have an election, would I go vote for? Would I go vote for? And on that basis, 4 people, we just decided to publish the first 4. So the results are available for those who did not make it in the first 4, at least for this round of the marathon. For the APC, the first 4 are from bottom to up. Honorable Cherikoko, the former Deputy Speaker of Parliament, and running mates to Dr. Samora Kamara, and then after him is Sam Sumana, and then Dr. Samora Kamara. Dr. Samora Kamara is one that is worthy of special notice. He's still very popular within the APC, over 60% popularity within the APC. About 51% of the APC said they can vote for him. But the most popular across the board is Jagaban, who happened to have about 63% likability and 51% electability. We had, for the SLPP, 4 people. This current vice president was the 4th, with about 23% likability, followed by the First Lady with 26%. Well, electability, First Lady with 26% electability, then the Chief Minister 27% electability, and then Dr. Kande Yomkela 38% electability. What you can see the closeness of the result within SLPP, so it shows that the race is wide open within SLPP. The Jagaban is the only candidate as at now that secured an above 51% electability and 63% likability. As the race, as the race develops and people's minds are being made up about certain things, candidates float their debates on forums like this, people's minds will definitely, there will be shifts in opinion, which will mean that the marathon will, there are some people that may not show up in the first four, as the case may be. I think this is an opportunity for people, because we publish the results as well by region. It means it's an opportunity for candidates to see the regions that are doing well, the regions that are not doing well, and how they can they do better. And so instead of you actually looking at it as something that is going to bring me down, but it's what lesson can you learn from it to ensure that the next time you viewed favorably in the eyes of the public. And I want to finish off by saying we did not interview the delegates. We interviewed the people who delegate the delegates. So if a delegate say, no, I'm going to do what I want to do, I'm not going to talk to the people in my community. Say, for example, in this area, this central area, so you can have APC youth leader that is a delegate, SLPP youth leader that is a delegate, APC women leader, delegate, SLPP women's leader. If you say I'm not going to talk to the women for me to aggregate their opinion as to who we want, and then you say I'm just going to, vote for someone who is going to line my pocket, it's a problem. So one of the ways one of the objectives of this is really putting pressure on the political parties internally to see democratic pressure, if you like, to see to do what the people want. And in the next iteration, because some of the comments, the feedback that we have, that it's the delegates that really matter for the SLPP and APC. When you look at their internal routines and expectations, I think that's a valid comment. So in the next iteration, you ask what is going to be the next iteration. We'll actually begin to look at what the opinions of delegates themselves, not just the general masses.
All right. How can the people get access to this?
It should be on IGR website. Right now, it's www.igr-sl.
You said the next iteration would be on delegates, but you would be doing this every 4 years.
No, not every 4 years. We'll be doing this in the next 4 years. We'll be doing this every 2-3 months. Okay. Yes. So it's a marathon. So it's a political league. So we'll see who is coming on. I saw your sport news. So.
Well, thank you very much, Andrew Laverly, for your time this morning to be with us. He's the Executive Director of Institute for Governance Reform, IGR. This is where we'll end today's edition of Wake Up Sierra Leone. We'd like to say thanks to our guests for being a part of the program. Thanks to our lovely audience for tuning in and your contributions to the conversation. Thanks to our sponsor, Rokel Commercial Bank, and all the advertisers supporting Wake Up Sierra Leone and AYV Media Empire generally. We've been your presenters. I am Phoebe Swale.
And I am Victor Jones. Keep watching the AYV. Goodbye.